Alright guys, welcome back to Ion Market, and today we've got a lot of stuff to take a look at. It's been a wild week for the market as a whole, with Ancient Guardians set to release on Friday, and we'll take a deep dive into Ancient Guardians today, at least looking at some of the potentially higher end stuff on TCG Player. I don't see that there are a bunch of the collector rares up on TCG Player yet, so we won't have accurate data on like how those are selling outside of some of the other sites like Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily and Tier 0, but we'll take a look at what we do have, and then there's been some random spikes that I had no idea about, and a few cards that I think might be worth looking at in conjunction with Ancient Guardians. So, that in mind, let's jump into today's Ion Market and take a look at what we've got to look at. Alright, so now that we're in, and we're live, and we're going, well, we're not live, but we're going, as always, start off just taking a look at best selling. There's really no changes here to report, and I look at this all the time. Alpha's on the front page, though, which is interesting, so good for him, I guess. Seems to be selling well despite the reprints that, you know, loom on the horizon. BLS, Ghost Rare, Dark Magician, Ghost Rare, all that's the same. Remus is getting super competitive price-wise, down to $13.50. I don't know if you actually pull that up, if it's like a valid price. $13.50, yeah, to $14, $15. More value kind of drained from Ghosts from the Past, if you will, as a whole. I don't know why this is setting it to that, but yeah, as you look through, people are picking up Ancient Guardians. I do have boxes on order. Not sure when they'll be here, but we will have a video when they do, just so you guys get a chance to see that, anyone that wants to watch it here. Nadir Servin, evenly matched, another really like competitive price with this at $13, new seller, so good to see some competition on the market in that regard, but it's business as usual on that. So, starting us off today, we're going to take a look at a few of the cards from Ancient Guardians, sort of what they're pre-selling at. I think Ursartix or Pentreon might be one of the best cards, maybe in the future, or at least one of those cards we may look back at and say, yeah, I definitely didn't, you know, even consider this, but let's take a quick look at it and see. It can't be synchro summoned. It's got to be special summoned by sending 2 monsters you control with a level difference of 7 to the grave, 1 level 8 or higher tuner, and 1 non-tuner synchro. So 90% of the time you're probably going to be summoning this best within its own deck, or playing it as part of an engine. Negate the effects of face-up monsters without a level that were special summoned from the extra deck. So that means Lynx and Xyz primarily, but that's a huge portion of the game. Especially Lynx, because they're everywhere, but people play the other stuff too. And this is just an insanely powerful sort of floodgate where we're just shutting down so many things that are going to pose a threat to him. And then obviously, if your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can add 1 Ursartic card from your deck to your hand. That's a hard once per turn effect. It's not bad. Certainly the free searches are good. He's level 7. And again, basically they have this weird like subtraction summoning thing going on where you have to go, you know, an 8 and then a 1 would be, you need an 8 and a 1 to get the difference of 7, unless you had like a 9 and a 2, so on and so forth. Cheapest near mint on this is about $10 right now for pre-sales. I think give it time, wait it out, it could drop lower, but I would recommend this as a card to pick up, at least to have. I think, obviously, the way we're going to see it play out with Ancient Guardians, much like Genesis Impact, is over time, stuff's going to have value. So in order for that to be the case, you know, you may see certain things start to rise that are not the collector rares. And it won't be instantaneous, but it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. And I know at least one of these is short print, one of the Ultras. I don't know which one, but I was reading about it based on some case ratios. So it might be worth it to grab once the pre-sale prices drop, but give it a little bit of time. The same deal with this guy, Ogdobus, the Ogdobus, I can't pronounce it, I'm not even going to try anymore. This card's really good because it's not specific to the, I'm just going to call it the Abyss archetype, even though I know they changed it. If it's in your grave, tribute 3 monsters, special summon it, which is interesting, a lot of sacrifice, but once while this card is face up on the field, quick effect, you can send all monsters on the field to the graveyard, except face-up monsters that were special summoned from the graveyard. So, this is generic, and it just gets better with time, because there's going to be something that can basically put those 3 materials out, put him on the board, and give you a really good sort of pressure on the opponent. I like this card a lot. It would definitely be one I think you should, you know, keep an eye at. At 12, I think it's kind of high. I think it's going to go lower, which, you know, we'll see what happens, because the set hasn't dropped yet officially, but I think you'll see this probably around like $6, $7, if not a little bit less. And if so, when it hits that price, when it hits like 5, again, I plan on picking some up. I definitely think it's going to be worth it to have. And then, of course, Ursartic Polaris, another Ultra. I think this might be the short-printed one. Basically, this is the level 1, so it's easiest to do this with a 7. Send 2 monsters you control with a level difference of 1. 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner, so like 7 and 6. I think pretty much 5 and 4. Anything where the difference is 1. When it's special summoned, you can activate an Ursartic Big Dipper directly from your deck, which is one of their new spells. And then you can tribute 1 level 7 or higher monster, add to your hand, or special summon 1 Ursartic monster from your graveyard. So he directly grabs Big Dipper, which is a really solid card. And I thought I had it pulled up, but I didn't. I'm gonna try and pull it up real quick if I can. Big Dipper is a spell. Yeah, there were no images yet, which is why I didn't actually have it pulled up. But this is about $15 right now. It's basically allows you to bypass the tributing condition of the Ursartix, and you can instead banish from grave. And then it also has an additional effect that allows you to take control of a monster your opponent controls based on the amount of counters it has. I mean, it's a neat card in general just because of that first effect and the fact that you can activate it from the deck. But again, this is relatively high. I don't think it's going to stay there. I guess we'll see what happens. But again, same deal though with Polari. It could potentially be a good one to have. And this one's, relatively easy to summon because, a tuner and a non-tuner with a different level difference of 1 is not, impossible to get on the board. Alright, picking up the pace just a little bit. Obviously, Pankratops is looked at by everybody to be kind of the chase collector rare of the set. Really good card. It's limited, but you may want to have more than one if it's ever going to move off the list. These pre-sale prices are astronomical right now at $145. I do not expect them to stay there. I think that it will drop a bit because it should. And we don't, like I said, we don't have accurate data for a lot of the other collector rares yet. I mean, Pankratops, Trade-In, those are the two that I think are going to be solid long-term value, but I would avoid this cost. I mean, this is just high. Maybe in the future or something, but that right now feels super high. Pivoting to some other stuff, Warrock Mountain is at its lowest. It is not peaked yet. And I actually bought some of these the other day because I'm just like, as much as I think Warrock as a whole is just not good right now, we should be getting like TCG exclusive reveals for Lightning Overdrive any day now. And this could go up easily if any of the Warrock stuff is good. So if you want to grab some, they are very much in large quantity. You should not have a problem. But I mean, at 2 and change, almost $3, it just feels like a card that if you want a chance to either play the deck if it were to get any good support, or if you want to make a quick flip, it does feel like a relatively risk-free pickup just because of how cheap it is versus what the potential reward could be for a temporary spike in the price. So just wanted to put that one out there again. Probably the best thing in Blazing Vortex right now to chase after. Few buyouts. This is going to be kind of quick. Bingo Machine Go from Legendary Duel Season 2 is disappearing with 41 listings right now. It's around $11 after these couple of $10 ones clear out. I think it's a good card, obviously, and it's only got the 2 printings with the Legendary Duelist Season 2, and then the Ultra, which is pretty high as well. Blue Eyes is wildly popular. We're going to get Blue Eyes stuff in the Megatins. I mean, I could give you a list of reasons why, like, having Bingo Machine Go might be a worthwhile thing, but that's where we're at with this one. It's just running relatively low on quantities. Same for Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon from Legendary Duelist Season 2, with 41 listings there as well, and most of them being around $8 as you get a little higher. Some people have pretty large quantities, but they're definitely not super cheap, and I do think this is the nicest variant of it. Obviously, it has the secret here, but it also has an Ultra printing down here, which is about 15 from the White Dragon Abyss. I would say if you have any interest in this, whether it's as a collector's card or if you want to play it in the future, this is a decent entry-level price to grab it. Chaos Max has so many prints that it just hasn't followed the same trajectory, but even then, the Secret Edition one is still pretty solid. Interesting price bump. This may be a little bit not super recent, but Galaxy Expedition around $12. I'm rewatching Zexal right now, which is what made me think of this in the first place. Decent card with only 2 prints, the other one being OTS 9, which is notoriously shorted. Out of that, there's 2 listings at $6, and then they jump up to 10. So, I don't know. If you have these, maybe move them. Unless there's, like, Unknown Galaxy support coming out, I'm not really sure. But, yeah, it's a decent little value card there with very, very low quantities from the Zexal Collection tin. So I just wanted to address that one. Ninja Grandmaster Saizo, I don't know why this has been bought out, man. It's fine, I guess. Set out in Jutsu Spell or Trap directly from the deck, like, it's not awful. I don't know that ninjas are doing anything great, but I guess if you have this, maybe list it, see if you can make a sale. I don't see the price staying anywhere near the median of 10, but I guess we'll see. The market price was 5, so it's a relatively recent spike, but yeah, it's nonetheless. Another one I was thinking about recently watching Zexal, it's just a weird one. Orbital 7 feels like a card that in the future may be like $5. Like, it's not good, but it's like one of those cards that is relatively iconic in terms of, like, if you were a fan of Zexal, like, it was a featured character in pretty much most of the show. This is a Super in Cosmo Blazer with no other prints, and I don't know, I mean, I guess, like, it's $1, no, not even $1, it's like 50 cents. I used to pull these all the time. Obviously, its brethren, Photon Orbital from Legendary Duelist, is a much better card, but this feels like a super cheap penny stock that could be a collector's card in the future, so I just figured I'd put it out there. I forgot it existed, so if you have them. Herald of the Arclight with Diviner of the Heralds coming soon, you know, very soon. You want to just take a look at this, see that they are relatively low in quantities for certain copies. Other ones are pretty stock, but I'm thinking this is more a card you just want to make sure you have, and I just realized this is going to cut off on the side of the screen there. So there's the other one from New Challengers, but this is going to be a card that you want to make sure you have if you have any interest in playing that deck, or Necros, Drytron, etc. Just, it's super cheap right now, so whichever you prefer, I would recommend grabbing something, if it's something you see yourself maybe having down the line. Pendulum Call, super rare with the not Do-Re-Mi, well, Do-Re-Mi is coming out, but whatever the new Pendulum Arc type is in Ancient Guardians, I keep forgetting the name because of how weird they changed it to, but this is like a $6 super rare. I'm not sure whether or not like that new deck's going to have any like hybrid builds, or people are going to maybe be able to do something with Pendulums using some of the Magician cards. I was just looking for the name. Sulfacord? Yeah, I think that's what it is. So if you have any interest in that, I mean, Pendulum Call is relatively cheap for their commons, which I think are around $3 to $5 depending on sold listings and condition, but it's, you know, only got those 2 printings, and it could go a lot higher if it does start to see a demand, so just wanted to put that one out there. Salvage, Ultra from Ghost from the Past and Super from Legendary Collection Yugi's World. Almost all of the Ursartic monsters are targets for this, so just something to think about. You know, this is the, technically, I guess you want to say the highest rarity, but there are like Duelist League printings that are way out there. You've got the Super Rare, and then you've got the Ultra from Ghost from the Past. I don't know whether or not the deck would play these, but considering the fact that a lot of them special summon, they're very, like, spam heavy, and they can make multiple synchros and recur resources, Salvage is a really solid card, and a lot of them have less than 1500 attack. So I just wanted to point this one out. It's super cheap, and it's a really good entry level. I gotta restructure the screen on the next video. My bad about that, but at this point, we're pretty much just about done. Salvage is super cheap. Like I said, the Legendary Collection Yugi's World is a bit more because of the set it's from, but Ghost from the Past is still readily available as well. So, just something to think about. Ursartic might make use of this. And finally today, Speed Recovery Super Rare from High Speed Riders. As you guys know, I'm really amped for the Speedroid stuff to come out. We're supposed to get leaks for that relatively soon, so as soon as we do, I will update them on the channel. But the Super Rare has 17 listings, cheapest near mint's about 3, and they pretty quickly go up from there. It does have common variants, but those are not super cheap either because they are from Star Pack, which means generally speaking they were not widely opened, and you see the quantities are pretty limited. If you're interested in having a foil, I think the Super's a decent pickup right now. It probably will be reprinted in the Duelist pack, though, if there are Speedroid cards in there. So if you're, you know, not caring about the Super, I'd say you've got a decent chance of it getting reprinted, and you can just hold off, but their Supers are relatively affordable right now. This is a Monster Reborn and a Monster Reincarnation in one, and it's just an insanely good card without a hard ones per turn restriction, so I would have this if you want to play Speedroids. But that's going to do it for today's Ion Market. Thank you guys so much for watching and bearing with me on this. Let me know what you're excited for from Ancient Guardians. I'm pretty excited to open it, even though I'm not greatly excited for the set. But it'll be fun to open, and maybe we'll get a cool collector's rare. I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to check out our ongoing ban list discussion series with new episodes every other day as we break down the entire ban list. If you guys are interested in that type of content, I'll put a link in the end screen of the video here so you can check it out. But I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching Ion Market.